Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks so much for joining our stream. I'm Will Dupree here in the KXAN live studio. We are about to bring you a live event that's happening from the University of Texas at Austin campus, where the school is announcing that it received a $20 million grant, and they are going to use that money to create, as you see at the bottom of your screen there, the Arthur M. Blank Center for Stuttering Education and Research, and this will be housed in the Moody College of Communication. Arthur Blank, if you are unaware of who he is the co-founder of Home Depot and the owner of the Atlanta Falcons and Atlanta United. Let's take a listen as this gets underway now at UT Austin. Once again, a grant is creating a new center for stuttering education at the university.
DJ Zetrock. I am a person who stutters, and I have been working with Dr. Bird and the Lang Stuttering Institute for many years now. And personally, I've been able to see what a tremendous impact it's had on not only my life, but many, many others as well. I can't wait for all you to hear about some of the participants today and what is next to come. To kick things off, I have the honor of introducing the 6th Dean of the Moody College, Dr. Jane Bernhardt. Dean Bernhardt is recognized internationally as a visionary leader, respected scholar, and innovative scientist in the application of communication, marketing, media to public health, healthcare, and medicine. He has received numerous awards for his scholarship and leadership, and has made multiple significant advancements to the Moody College over a short period of time. Dean Bernhardt has been a big believer in the work of the Lang Stuttering Institute, and for that, the stuttering community will forever be grateful, sir. Thank you for that. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dean Bernhardt to the stage.
Thank you so much. How about another hand for our DJ Zetrock, Juan Cortez Jr. It feels so good to be here right now, I have to say. It's such a special day and special occasion. What a wonderful feeling. Today we're filled with gratitude and joy. So let me begin by saying thank you to all of you for joining us today. Whether you're here with us in person now, safely distanced under this fantastic tent, or watching us on the live stream, please know that we feel you with us, and we're glad you're with us today as we gather for this to celebrate on this historic day for the University of Texas at Austin, and a major milestone in the history of the Moody College of Communication. Because of the visionary leadership, generosity, and support of Mr. Arthur M. Blank and the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, today we proudly announce the creation of the Arthur M. Blank Center for Stuttering Education and Research. It does feel great, I have to say, to be able to say those words. Established with a historic $20 million legacy grant, this center will house the groundbreaking work of Dr. Courtney Bird, Professor of Speech, Language, and Hearing Sciences in the Moody College of Communication. Her distinctive approach to the field of stuttering has truly made a difference in the lives of thousands of people who stutter here in Austin and around the world. The Blank Center will build on and expand the incredible work that Dr. Bird has conducted through the Michael and Tammy Lang Stuttering Institute, the Dr. Jennifer and Emmanuel Bodner Developmental Stuttering Laboratory, and the Dealey Family Foundation Stuttering Clinic. And let's recognize them for their great support. Dr. Bird's work has truly revolutionized stuttering education, research, and clinical practice through her data-driven model, which treats people who stutter as whole people, who grow as confident communicators. We are so excited that this legacy grant will allow us to significantly scale up and widely export this model to help countless more people in communities around the world. Courtney, we thank you for your hard work, perseverance, dedication, and resilience. We are so fortunate to have your voice as a scholar, clinician, and leader here in Moody College. Many years ago, when I was living in Atlanta and working at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, I had the honor and the opportunity to meet Arthur Blank, one of the most respected business leaders and philanthropists in our country, and to get to know some members of his family. And all these years later, we are delighted to have his granddaughter, Emily, as a student in Moody College. We are deeply honored to have Arthur as a collaborator and as a friend. We are inspired by his vision and firm belief in Dr. Bird's groundbreaking work and how we can together truly change the world for people who stutter. So please join me in thanking Courtney and Arthur for their vision, their leadership, and their transformational impact. It's now my great honor to introduce a valued colleague and a good friend, Jay Hartzell. Dr. Hartzell is the 30th president of the University of Texas at Austin, and his strong support was instrumental as we worked over these past many months to formalize this transformational grant and partnership. We are grateful for his support and thankful for his leadership and vision. So please welcome to the podium President Jay Hartzell.
Good afternoon. Thanks a lot, Jay. So it's nice to no longer be the second best dean named Jay in the university, and now I've just moved on to become the president. But Jay, it's great to spend this day with you, and congratulations on leading Moody College to this point. And it's really just a lot of fun to be here. I was talking with Mr. Blank earlier. It's nice when the university is above the fold in the newspaper, and it's really nice when it's for good reason. And today was one of those reasons that really makes us, I think, all proud to be Longhorns and proud to see the impact this kind of thing can have on society. I want to say thanks to Arthur Blank and the members of the Blank Family Foundation for your vision and your commitment. When I got to meet Arthur the first time, it was a lunch this summer, and all of us this summer have been kind of tough. And we'd come in, and I felt kind of worn down by the mix of COVID and financial pressures and all the issues around racial injustice that we've been trying to do better toward. And you come into that lunch, and I left feeling incredibly inspired because I started to see the work that a special faculty member can have, how that work can go out and help people, and then how a philanthropist and a foundation can invest in that work and really take it to the next level. I saw the connections that have been formed between Arthur and the Blank Foundation and Dr. Bird. And really, as I said, it was an incredible day for me at the tail end of a challenging summer. But it helped for me to show the path forward that we have in front of us as a university. We talk about what starts here changes the world, and this is one of those moments. At this great university, we take on the biggest challenges facing people, and we conduct research that does and makes a profound impact. In recent months, as I've gotten to know Dr. Bird and her work, I've gotten to hear some stories about the lives her research and her treatments have touched. The stories are deeply moving and they're inspiring, and they get at the core of what it means to be a public research university. We harness the power of scholarship, data, and knowledge creation, and use it to combine with genuine compassion and care for those in need. Dr. Bird's work is designed to help those who stutter not only communicate, but to realize their full potential as leaders throughout their lives. The goal is to help people, as Mr. Blank puts it, unlock their personality and be judged, quote, by the quality of their thinking, not simply by the way they communicate. We wouldn't be here today if it weren't for Arthur Blank, the Blank Family Foundation, Dr. Bird, Dean Bernhardt, and the whole team at Moody College. And of course, every one of you, our participants and families. You're the reason we're doing this work. You inspire us, you motivate us. It's your voices, your ideas, your insights, and your dreams that we want to hear. They are far more profound and engaging than anything I could say, and I'm just happy that I get to speak before all of your amazing guests this afternoon. Arthur and Dr. Bird have the impossible job of following you, so I get off pretty easy. Maybe that happens when you become the president. With that, I will gladly turn the floor over to our guests of honor for the segment, What I Wish People Knew About Stuttering. Thank you all again, and hook 'em horns.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jeffrey Colson. I'm 40 years old. I've stuttered my entire life. And what do I wish people knew about stuttering? What I want people to know is that this isn't something that we have to apologize for, and that we will never again have to hide. Thanks to the monumental legacy grant provided by the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation. Now, I'm very excited to work with you as we make this dream a reality. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the trust and support and the example that you provided for all the children and adults who stutter who are across the globe. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Nadia Watson, and I'm 8 years old. And what I wish the world knew about stuttering is it's actually a very unique thing that people do. And if someone thinks like there's something wrong with you, well, they're thinking wrong. And I'd like to thank the Blank Family Foundation and the Lang Institute for helping awesome kids like me find their voices. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aman and I'm a person who stutters. That means I might get stuck or repeat a word. What I wish people knew about stuttering is that stuttering means you are still smart. I thank the Blank Foundation for supporting me on my journey. Hook 'em horns.
Hi, my name is Jack Donahue, and I'm 16 years old, and I'm a junior in high school. What I wish people knew about stuttering is to let them finish their words or phrases without interrupting them. I can't thank the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation for all they've done and all they're going to do for the stuttering community. Go Falcons.
Hello. My name is Vivian, and I'm a person who stutters. And one thing I wish people knew about stuttering is that it does not affect a person's intelligence or their ability to learn. I want to thank Mr. Blank and the Blank Institute for helping me and people like me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Shubham Singh. I'm from India. I'm a person who stutters. And one thing which I wish people knew about stuttering is that it does not stop me to say what I want to say. And I have another message for the people who stutter, that I think once you accept your stuttering, you get rid of the fear of stuttering. And the fear of stuttering is a bigger issue than the stuttering itself. With that, I would like to thank Arthur Blank for the support and for everyone here. I see all this as my family. Thanks a lot, everyone.
My husband said I don't have to give my age, so I'm excused. My name is Mary Lieberman, and I'm a person who stutters. Stuttering is a part of who I am, but it is not all of who I am. The challenge for us is to remember that we have much to contribute. The Lang Center is a safe harbor for persons who stutter. We learn to help each other by learning to help each other. And as we explore our hopes and sometimes fears, I know that I will receive true and sincere encouragement for all my efforts. And I will pay it forward. This helps so many people on so many levels to find themselves in the still small voice that says, I matter. To the Blank family, Thank you for everything that you are doing and will do to help stutterers and their advocates. We could not be more grateful. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Kevin Yuan. I'm a recent graduate of UT as of last spring, and I'm a person who stutters. What I wish everyone knew about stuttering is that it doesn't hold you back. I think all of us have times when we feel a bit of lack of confidence because of how we speak, but I think it's important in life to have, you know, people who support you. I've always been fortunate enough to have family and friends who cared about me and never made me feel self-conscious about the way I speak. And I think in a way that's what the Lang Institute does as well. Beyond all the groundbreaking work that they do, they also offer a very strong support system. And so when the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation supports the Lang Institute, they also support us as well. And so from the bottom of my heart, I want to extend a very big thank you for you taking the time to be here today, as well as your very generous contribution. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So my name is Luan Sneed, and I am 16 years old, and I am a person that stutters. And so one thing that I wish that people knew about stuttering is that people who stutter, they are just as smart as anyone else, and they can accomplish all of their dreams. And I want to thank the Arthur Blank Family Foundation for this generous grant, which will help so many kids just like me in the future.
My name is Caitlin Alcott. I'm 16 years old, and I'm a person who stutters. Stuttering has contributed to who I am today. Stuttering is a gift that does not determine what you can accomplish in life. I want to thank the Blank Family Foundation for this legacy grant that will help demolish the stigma behind stuttering and help individuals who stutter gain the tools and confidence they need to succeed. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sulhan Makwana. I am 15 years old, and I am a person who stutters. Because I am a person who stutters, you may hear some blocks or some repetitions in my speech. You know, what I wish people knew about stuttering is that people who stutter can still be great communicators. And we can accomplish anything we desire. I would like to thank Mr. Blank and his foundation for supporting the Lang Stuttering Institute. The Lang Stuttering Institute has helped me become more confident in my stutter as a speaker and as a person. And so I am very grateful that that many more people will be helped by this generous grant. Thank you, thank you, and thank you, Mr. Grant and Mr. Blank.
Hello, my name is Idris. At Stutters, I might take a little longer in words or phrases. And one thing I wish people knew about stuttering is that it's not a lack of ability, but a presence of difference that we have to embrace. And lastly, I want to thank the Blank Foundation and the Lang Institute for giving so many people a voice. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kai Baker. I'm a person who stutters, and I'm a senior at UT with hopes of becoming a speech language pathologist. Many people who stutter go through hard times because of their speech, and I want people to know that patience and understanding goes a long way in supporting people who stutter. Thank you so much to the Blank Family Foundation. It makes not just the university, but the entire stuttering community a better place. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christian Castillo, and like everyone here that spoke, I'm a person that stutters. What I wish people knew about stuttering is that it shouldn't deter you if you are a person that stutters. It shouldn't deter you from pursuing any specific job or life goal just because you speak differently. Before the Institute, I was very unsure of myself. I actually avoided situations involving speaking, and I regretted those moments because I always wanted to pursue those. But you know, with me attending the Institute and with contributions from Mr. Arthur Blank, I was able to live a very fulfilling life, and just I feel like the world's open to me. And hopefully with this grant, we can pursue that on a much more global level and share that with other people that stutter. So that way they feel that, you know, just because you speak differently doesn't mean you should, you know, live a life in fear of being who you are. So I thank you so much, Mr. Arthur Blank.
Hello, my name is Hudson Hanna, and I'm a 17-year-old high school student from San Antonio. I started stuttering when I was 8 years old, and until the 6th grade, I didn't even know what it was. There were a few members on the high school football team that would make fun of me for being big, 6'6", and having a stutter. I would go to school feeling so happy and confident, and come home hating myself for not being what I thought was normal. Talking it out with my parents helped, but not enough to keep me completely content with who I was as a person. Some people make fun of people who stutter because they are uncomfortable and or confused. Attending a few years of Camp Dream Speak Live made me realize this is what I wanted to do with my life. I will be pursuing a degree in speech pathology this next year. Stuttering is not a disability, but an amazing ability, my amazing ability. What I wish people knew about stuttering is that it affects every person differently, and I find that amazing. I would like to thank the Blank Foundation for their humongous generosity and support. Hook 'em.
Hello, everyone. My name is Unyime, and I started as an adult. I'm from Nigeria, so I'm from far away from here. What I would like to tell the young people, especially the female that stutter, is that stuttering will not and should not stop you from achieving your dreams, whatever that is. And I want to thank the Alcott Family Foundation for the contribution to the Lawrence Stuttering Institute. I'm so excited for what this is going to do for other people that stutter from all over the world. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Colin White. I'm 9 years old, and what I wish people knew about stuttering is that stuttering is a neurophysiological disorder with a genetic predisposition. And what that basically means is, if you break it up, it just means neuro is brain, physiological is a movement or an action, disorder is different from normal, genetic means family, and predisposition is doing something in a certain way. Before I leave, I would like to thank the Blank Foundation for their legacy grant that will help kids like me. Thank you and have a good rest of your day.
Hi, my name is Jubal Reed. I'm 13. And what I would like to let people to know about stuttering is that each stutter is different, and also that stuttering cannot hold you back from achieving any of your dreams. And I would also like to thank the Blank Family Foundation for giving us a grant, and with that grant, it'll help us reach others who stutter and hook them.
Hello, my name is Jackson White, and I'm a person who stutters. One thing I would like people to know about stuttering is it is a gift that makes me unique and the person who I am today. I would like to thank the Blank Family Foundation and the Lang Stuttering Institute for giving kids like me an opportunity to have their voice heard and speak their opinion. Thank you.
Thank you all for sharing. Please make some noise for all of our participants today. So inspirational, so touching. Thank you guys for sharing your stories. What I wish people knew about stuttering is that these children are the inspiration to the fuel of all of our journeys, whether you're a person who stutters or not. More people need to see what is happening here, as it would change their lives, just as it done for me. Thank you all for listening to these beautiful souls share about what they wish people knew about stuttering, and thank you for listening to my story as well. Ibar?
Let's all just take that in for a moment, what we just witnessed, what we just saw together, and how powerful that is. And let's give one more really big round of applause for all of our guests for sharing their stories. I too want to thank all our speakers today for sharing their stories and allowing us to hear your voice. We learned so much just by listening, and by listening to each of you, we understand more about our next speaker and the transformational scholar and clinician who made this all possible, Dr. Courtney Bird. You can clap for that. Through the powerful words and brave actions of our speakers today, we see the imprint of the holistic approach to stuttering conceived by Dr. Bird. Hers is a simple yet groundbreaking concept to focus not on a speaker's fluency, but on his or her freedom to speak. This is the key to unlocking the spirit and potential inherent in every person's life, placing our value on meaning and message, as a distinct and profound paradigm shift that will revolutionize the field of stuttering. Dr. Bird is already one of the most respected professors at the University of Texas at Austin and the Moody College of Communication. She's an award-winning professor, esteemed scholar, and an enormously gracious and kind person. She's a provost teaching fellow, a member of UT's Academy of Distinguished Teachers, and she's also a recipient of the Blunk Memorial Professorship and Friar Centennial Professorship, Teaching Fellowship, excuse me. And she's constantly recognized as one of the best advisors and mentors on this campus. Today, after decades of tireless work, Dr. Bird will add to her long list of accomplishments a new title. Her title will be the Executive and Founding Director of the Arthur M. Blank Center for Stuttering Education and Research. Congratulations, Courtney. We are so proud of your accomplishments, and we're so excited of what is yet to come. So please join me in welcoming my colleague and my friend, Dr. Courtney Bird.
Here comes the sun.
Take my mask off. I'm sorry it's so hot in here, everyone. I'm so grateful that you all took the time to come down, and really we could have just stopped right there with all the participants and walked away, and it would have been everything we needed to hear. But I do have a few things I want to say. I have a roadmap. I'm going to try to follow it, but you know that I'll veer off a little bit. But you're with me. We know each other well, and we're good with that, right? Right, okay. It'll get a little bit more awkward. The president's used to that. We met each other briefly recently, and I just have to say that I was struck by the fact that he carefully listened to what we were doing, and it wasn't about what the university would get. It was about what we would be able to do with what the Blank Foundation was giving to us. And so I was really grateful for your empathy, your understanding, and your willingness to support us. I need to recognize Dean Bernhardt. I appreciate that he says that I'm gracious and kind, but probably he more than anyone knows that I'm also determined, and I can be aggravating, and I can really be persistent, and I can keep asking when he probably wants me to stop. And so I thank you for maybe, I guess I could say, forgiving me for the times that I was persistent, but also seeing the reasons why. And I also thank you for every way in which you've helped us, one in particular being giving of your research space, which may not sound like a big deal to people who don't live in academia, but that's sort of like giving up maybe a child, I'm not sure, something kind of close to that. But it was a really a life-changing thing for all of us who are in the Lang Stuttering Institute community, because we actually had more than just 3 rooms with a laminated sticker on the outside of the door. And it allowed us to start to see more people and really address that wait list that we continue to address. And I need to thank Yuan. I wish Yuan could just wake me up every morning with his music. We actually got to experience that this summer, and it was amazing. And all of you for having the courage to stand up and share what you most wish people knew about stuttering. The fact is that, I'm just the talking piece. You all are speaking through me. Everything that you have done and have, taught me is the reason why we are here today. You're the reason why I am persistent. You're the reason why I might be aggravating. You're the reason why I might not lose sight of certain things, because I know that the more support we secure, the more people like you we will be able to help. And even though I'm very grateful, and you will hear how grateful I am for the foundation support we're getting today, it's not enough, and I know that, and I'm going to keep on moving forward, and I know you're all going to help me. And we're going to continue until there is no child who stutters, who thinks that the way that they talk is not okay. And, people often ask me, do you stutter? In fact, you mentioned the Friar, and I remember I went to an event for them, and I felt like they were waiting to see if I stuttered. And I didn't want to tell them. I thought I'll just keep that a secret, and they can try to figure that out and ask me later, because it doesn't really matter. But the point is, for the last 25 years, I've been blessed with nearly every day of my life working with somebody who stutters. And so my gratitude goes back to the very first person who stutters that I had the opportunity to work with. His name was Kevin. He was 13 years old, the age of my oldest son. And I remember that, my supervisor told me, here's what you need to do. You need to get a tape recorder. Those of you might not know what that is. Actually, I don't know if my children know what that is. You just put it in. It's a cassette. It records things. kind of like your iPhone, but a little bit more archaic. But regardless, he would record himself and play it back, and he would practice and practice and practice more than he was even asked to practice. And he would tell me, it's not working. You know, what you're asking me to do is not working. You know, I can be fluent inside of this clinic room, but whenever I go out and I go to school or I go to play with my friends or, you know, I'm anywhere other than in this room with you, I'm still stuttering. And she told me, he's a teenager. And of course, he's telling you he's practicing, but he isn't. And I knew that Kevin was telling the truth, but I didn't have any other answers for him. And that really set my life on a journey to try to figure out what else is there, because I knew there had to be something else other than fluency. And really, I can remember, and I remember Kevin crying, and I remember him really crying out for help. And when people ask me why I got involved in stuttering, I can still see his face. And my supervisor, the one thing I want to say too, she has passed away since she was older, and I am older now too, okay? We can talk age later, but you know, that happens as we go along. As I was telling Anita earlier, I kind of go into dark humor in that way, but what am I trying to say? She's no longer here to defend herself, but I will say she was teaching me what she knew best. That's what she was training me to do, and the cycle was surely set to repeat itself with me and my students had I not listened to each and every one of you share really what it means to be a person who stutters, and what works and what doesn't work and why it works and how I can help you. And what I learned from listening to all of you is that painfully, but importantly, many people who stutter entirely give up on any dreams that they have for any type of what we would consider to be a semblance of a life. They decide they're not going to take this career, they're not going to talk to this person, they're not even going to say this sound and this word because they might stutter on it. And in their mind, and I know you all can speak to this, the idea is that the only way that I can do those things or say those things is if I can say them fluently. But I think now, more than ever before, we're at a time in our world where what if conformity is not the outcome of success? What if that's no longer how we measure whether or not you're actually doing what you should do, what's expected of you? And what's frustrating is that to this day I will be presenting, and it's even happened on our own campus, and people will ask me, why is it that the people that you work with are still stuttering? And you know, by nature I am shy until you get to know me, then I'm not at all. But I will say that now I've learned to say things like, well, that's an interesting question. And what I would say to you is that if your limited vision requires that every human being speak in the same way, then you're never going to know the importance of authenticity and individuality to quality of life. And there's no way that if that is your vision that I can teach you otherwise. But I do know that the people who stutter and their families and their loved ones who work with us do know the difference, and I see it every day. And rather than teaching people who stutter to speak in an artificially fluent, controlled manner that really, quite frankly, our research shows that listeners disengage from. So it's not only that the speaker is not able to articulate clearly everything that they want because they're speaking in such a controlled way, that the listener, though they think they want to not hear the stuttering, they actually don't want to hear that really controlled, fluent type of speaking either. And so it's an interesting paradox. And what we have found that if we can teach people who stutter to speak confidently, to communicate effectively, and to advocate meaningfully, then their life is no longer defined by their stuttering, and their future aspirations are not, you know, quantified based on whether or not they're going to stutter when they speak. And I'd like to just share a couple of things, because obviously this is an opportunity to teach, and yes, we're among family, but I know there are a couple of people in here, at least a few, who may not have heard that much about stuttering before. And I want to tell you that I've never in my life, in the 25 years that I've been in this field, I've never heard an adult who stutters say to me, I wish that no one would have talked to me about my stuttering. I wish that, you know, everyone would have just ignored it. What I hear is the opposite. I wish that one person would have just said, you know what, I love the way that you talk, and it's okay to stutter. And actually, fundamentally, it's okay to be different. Because if I'd have heard that, it would have changed the course of my life. The adults who are with us may or may not know this because I don't tell you everything that I'm thinking about behind the scenes, but I often pair you up with children because really the children have a lot to teach you. Because the children, as you heard Nadia speak earlier, it's something that makes you unique. In fact, we had to film a video for a certain organization, and they wanted our video to mirror the video that they had. And we had a lot of kids, and they were running through answering these questions that they had. And the person came out and said, look, do you have a kid in here who's going to complain about their stuttering? You got one that's going to say something negative. And I said, it occurred to me, no, we don't. The only way we're going to be able to find that is if we find someone who hasn't participated in our program. If we find someone for whom no one has told them that there is another way to communicate, and it doesn't have to be perfectly fluently. The other thing that I want to share and try to get through this is that people often ask me, like, have you followed up with Kevin? It's kind of a weird question, and I think to myself, no, I don't know where he is. Strangely, UT is such a huge organization. It's possible that somehow he may hear from Longhorn Nation. You just never know. Maybe he's a Longhorn, but I think I would know him if that was the case. But regardless, what I want to say is that what I would say to Kevin is, I'm sorry. I sort of had some competing thoughts there, and I just don't want to cry is the bottom line, actually. But I would tell him that, I wish I could have known differently. I wish someone would have taught me a different way so that I could have taught you to communicate more effectively. I wish I could have provided you with opportunities to desensitize yourself to your stuttering. I wish I could have taught him how to talk about his stuttering in a way that mitigates the stereotype threat. I wish I could have taught him the importance of mindfulness, acceptance, and self-compassion. And above all, I wish I could have given him hope for his future by instilling in him that it is okay to stutter, because in that space, that's when we see our participants begin to dream, speak, live. And even though I didn't have the skills to help Kevin, I did hear every word that he said. And today, I am profoundly grateful that the support we've been awarded by the Blank Foundation will help us to amplify Kevin's voice. And as many of you have said today, it'll help us to amplify the voices of children and adults who stutter around the world. In fact, we're going to be able to scale our programming nationally and worldwide, as I like to tell Arthur, not just the nation, but worldwide, including providing Camp Dream Speak Live in many other states across the U.S. and also in 10 additional international locations across the world. Support from the Blank Foundation will also facilitate the establishment of satellite centers, something I've never thought about before had I not engaged with the Blank Foundation. And the first of which we are grateful and honored to announce will be located in the Children's Hospital of Atlanta. And I got to tell you, I met with these people, and they truly are some of the kindest, smartest people in the world, and I am honored to be able to expand first in that location. Funding from the Blank Foundation, look, you don't know this, but we've been working on a skeleton crew. I know you think that, we've got all these people working for us, but basically we have Elizabeth Hampton, who is 32 hours. That's really equal to about 60. We've got Juliet and Lauren, and we've got an army of doctoral students and undergraduate and graduate students that are helping us. But now we're going to be able to build out with directors of research, clinical programming, education, additional clinical supervisors so that we can generate more knowledge, provide more services, and train more students from all backgrounds. Training that will foster a global pipeline of clinical and faculty experts, which in turn will increase access to quality care for all people who stutter. Without question, this grant from the Blank Foundation will be transformational in every sense of the term. And it would not have been possible without the support of many people. And so I know it's hot, and I know I've been talking for a while. They did give me an amount of time, and I know I'm still sticking to it. But I do have to thank a few people that have truly helped us along the way. And first, I need to thank Manny and Jennifer Bodner. They believed in us long before anybody else did. And their support for us certainly opened the door for more people to support us, and it continues to do so to this day. I also need to thank Joe Dealey and the Dealey Family Foundation. I mean, they have no personal connection to stuttering, but they saw the power of the human spirit in our work, and they helped us to expand our clinical reach and our physical footprint. Forgive me, got a little missing something here. Well, it's just these things happen, you guys, and you know that, so I know you're going to support me. I also have to thank Mike and Tammy Lang. The Lang Stuttering Institute has obviously changed countless lives. Mike and Tammy have been with me since 6 years ago when we established the Lang Stuttering Institute, and you may not realize this, but I talk to them probably every week. And no matter what I say, even if it's a negative, they tell me it's a positive, which is the type of support that anybody needs when you're trying to continue to move forward. And Mike and Tammy would be with us today, but Mike actually had to have major surgery, and I just want to tell you what Mike said to me, because this is going to give you insight into the level of support that we have, or the commitment that we have from the people who support us. He said, Courtney, don't tell the dean or the president or anybody at UT when my surgery is. He's like, because they may think that there's a chance that I might still die, and then we could negotiate more support for stuttering. And, you know, at the time when he told me that, you know, he was serious, and we laughed, but later I was just struck and overwhelmed just with, again, the fact that I wouldn't be standing here if people didn't believe so strongly in what we do. I have lost my place, so forgive me for that. I am nervous, as I told everyone today. I think I'm missing a space. If you knew what was happening in my house yesterday, you would understand why. As it turns out, I am actually a human being too. It's weird. My voice can attest to that. Apart from, let me just gather my thoughts for just a second. Apart from the Langs, there are many other people I have to thank. I'm actually just going to put this away until I go to the other, because something has happened along the way here. And I want to say to you that the first thing that comes to my mind is the people who help us to serve the people we serve every day. So that would be, I already said, Elizabeth, Lauren, and the students who help us. But I also want to talk about the university and Moody College and how there are many remarkable people who have supported me. I know this is going to sound a little bit different, but the first person that popped into my mind is Patrick Fisher, who works in university construction and facilities, and I want to tell you why. Patrick came in and hung all the pictures up in our wall, and he saw the diversity of the faces of the people we work with, and he wanted to know, how? Tell me any way that I can help you so that you can help more people. I want you to understand that there's something that's different that's happening in our space, and if you haven't stopped by, I encourage you to do so, even during COVID, because I do think that if you do so, you're going to want to try to help us in some way, or shape, or another. And as far as people beyond our core staff who have helped us, and the dean and the president's support, I also need to thank my chair, who's here, Dr. Rajinder Cole, and the SLHS staff and faculty. At any given day, our faculty are getting R01s, R21s, I can't even think of it, but they're all doing different things that are so astounding. And I recognize that I get to stand up here today as though I've done something that's uniquely different. And the only way that I can make it okay in my mind is to know that it's not about me, it's about all the children and the adults and their voices and the need for people to hear more from them. I also need to thank everyone in the dean's office who's helped me, Jay Whitman, Julie Campos, Kimberly Byer, Shannon Brinkley, and all the members of the dean's office team, Janice Stamen, I think I said that, saying it again. I need to thank the University and College Development Team, Mike Wilson, Allison Dawson, Laura McKnight, Justin Machalka, Emily Doran, John Berzeau, Scott Rabinold. And I'm so grateful for the talent of Kathleen Mabley and her college MarkCom team, Natalie England, Lizzie Chen, Mark Spear, and Amanda Buchanan. And I even need to thank Dave Kotz and Scott Calhoun, because we have thousands of hours of videos of our participants that they help in IT, and I know we drive them crazy, but they always support us. Finally, I have to thank my sweet family, especially my 3 boys, Michael and Charlie and Brooksy, who put up with me in ways that I can't describe, but also give me the strength to keep me moving forward and will tell me tonight, Mom, you screwed up, but it's okay. We still love you anyway. And now I get to shift probably the best part. I need to thank the people who are going to help us to move forward in ways that I never dreamed were imaginable, were possible. Since 2019, I've met nearly every single day with one or more members of the Blank Foundation Executive Leadership Team. And today I want to especially thank Penny McPhee, Mike Egan, Cilio Baji, David Holmrich, Brett Jukes, John Baer, and of course, the incomparable Arthur Blank, who collectively and individually have provided me with invaluable guidance and resources to ensure this grant is a success across any metric. I'm going to try to introduce Arthur to you, but it is a challenge because there's a lot that I could say. Let me first tell you that he has recently written a book called Good Company. It is now on the Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestsellers list, as well as many others. And what I think really stands out about it is it teaches you core values critical to your personal and professional life. He's someone who at the age of 15 lost his father and watched his mother, who had not previously worked, take over the family business with such success that she was able to sell it only a few short years later. He's someone whose own store that he conceptualized only 2 days after being fired, the Home Depot, you may have heard of it, maybe you've been there before, went public when he was only 39 years old. He's someone who has also stewarded several other successful businesses, including but not limited to the PGA Tour Superstores, Mountain Sky Ranch, the Atlanta United MLS team, as well as the Atlanta Falcons. And he's someone who, as an NFL team owner, purposely used his position to host the Super Bowl owners' dinner at the National Civil and Human Rights Museum, and who is giving the full proceeds of his book, Good Company, to the same museum. Arthur is clearly someone whose words and actions demonstrate that he lives his life with purpose. And I'm very excited to share, especially with all the children and adults who stutter who are here today, that Arthur Blank is also a person who stutters. And ironically, Arthur believes strongly that the key to successful leadership is to lead with humility. And he also believes that he has achieved all that he has by listening to the people he serves. I'm so sorry that I lost my place, so grateful for the grace that you always show me. But let me tell you, the one that we really need to be listening to today, regardless of any of that, is Arthur Blank. And I have no doubt you will be grateful for that opportunity as well. So why don't we welcome Arthur to the stage.
Good afternoon, friends. I know it's hot and we're wearing masks and what have you, but if you want a lot of sympathy from me, you're probably not going to get it. I was telling President Jay before that we had 2 COVID cases on our Atlanta Falcon team last week, so all of our players had to wear full uniforms, helmets, and had to wear masks when they were practicing. So that's tough. You know. So anyway, but thank you very much for being here. One of my favorite books is a book called, many years ago, was written by President Kennedy, called Profiles in Courage. So I'd like to indulge all of you today and ask all those young people who, to me, showed profiles in courage today in sharing their stories. Would you all stand along with Dr. Bird, and just let us thank you again for your courage and your leadership. Please, Dr. Bird. Dr. Bird. Okay. Well, thank you. About half of them I would like to take home, maybe all of them. So I really can't thank Dr. Bird Courtney for her work in allowing, and I use that word specifically, our Family Foundation to be part of helping change to so many people's lives. And I want to thank Dean Bernhardt and President Hartzell for believing in the program and giving it a place called home here at UT Austin. So that could be overlooked, and I would tell you that, you know, those of you that study childhood growth and what have you realize in the early years, 0 to 5, 0 to 6 years old, so much of a child's well-being and health is determined during that period of time. So during the 6 years, is it 6 or 14 that the program has been in existence? Okay, so it's been officially for 6 years, unofficially for 14 years, that the dean and the presidents didn't know about it. So, but it's, you know, it's a beautiful thing when you have a university that creates a nurturing environment, and that's really what I want to give President to his, the prior presidents, deans, et cetera, all have been so supportive, because without that nurturing environment, without that caringness that they all showed to Dr. Bird and Elizabeth and everybody else who was involved in the program, we wouldn't be here today. So that goes without saying, but I wanted to, especially thank them for being the supporters and having the insight and the foresight and the ability to look ahead and say this is a program that could really be important. So it's easy not to pay attention to these birth programs, but in this case they did so beautifully. So and I think about the number of people that will be affected both here nationally, and the numbers vary all over the place, whether it's 3 million or that's some number of that, or 70 million or some number of that throughout the world. We're going to have an impact on people's lives, and there's no higher human calling than being able to impact somebody else's life. As Dr. Bird has already revealed, I'm a stutterer. My uncle, my father's brother, was a stutterer. My oldest brother is a stutterer. My youngest son, Max, I have 6 children. You name an age, I have a child. I've got a lot of kids and a lot of grandchildren. I have a Nadia as well. I met this young lady before who I used to think was the cutest Nadia in the world, and she may be tied now. She's right up there, probably pretty equal. So studying has been a genetic part of my family for many, many years, and because of that, I'm here with you today, and I want to read much of what's been heard about, been said and expressed about ensuring that every voice is heard. One of the things that I've seen consistently is that, and this was true in my own case, and Dr. Bird, I know, believes this, is that my mother was a strong factor in my own life. And she reinforced with me many, many times that what I had to say is important, and regardless of how fluent I was. She would tell me, take your time, say it. People want to hear what you have to say. They want to hear your mind. They want to feel your heart. They want to see your spirit. So I did that over and over and over again. In college, I often sat in the front of the class, which would have made a professor happy or a dean happy or a president happy, but I stood there and raised my hand every time I could answer a question, and the kids in the class would say, oh boy, here goes a 5-minute answer that should be a 2-minute answer. But I did that continually. I never stopped. I ended up being a president of my student body, president of senior class, and involved with a whole number of other things. But I learned to deal with that, and I learned to commit myself to having the courage to continue to take that on and not be defined by any sort of fluency that I didn't have at that time or did have at that time. So when you give yourself permission to try, and this is really to all the young folks in here and teens in here and adults in here that deal with stuttering, that feeling of confidence and self-worth that come with that allow you to not be limited by anything, in this case by your stuttering. So it's not just, the point I want to make here, and I don't know if I can make it really well, is that your ability to not be defined by fluency and by your stutter will carry over to so many other areas in your life, which are actually much more important and much more significant. Other barriers, other adversities, other opportunities, other challenges that you may have throughout your life, you won't see them that way because you've already, gotten through one. You've already moved past one. And so you're really to be commended for that. And that's why so many people, I think, who do stutter end up being very high achievers in whatever areas of profession that they choose, because they know how to overcome. They know how to pay attention to what's important and to not pay attention to those things that are not important. The organization that I've been connected to for over 40 years is Outward Bound. Outward Bound is a course that was developed after the Second World War. It's in place in over 40 countries throughout the world. It's in place in 12 centers and schools here in the United States. And their slogan, and much of my personal slogan is theirs, which is to serve, to strive, to serve, and not to yield. To strive, to serve, and not to yield. And that, to me, lies the beauty of the work that Dr. Bird and that each one of you on an individual journey have really taken on, is that you are striving, you are serving, and you are not yielding. You're not giving up. You're continuing to go through and continuing to work until you feel comfortable with who you are. So that ability is just so critical, that communication at its finest, and communications from a holistic standpoint, communication when we really feel we're connected to somebody else and we can complete their sentences and they can complete our sentences, or their thoughts and our thoughts, etc., is never dependent. Not only is it not, but it's never dependent on how fluent we are, how well we listen, how we express ourselves in a variety of different ways, and communication is so many different things. So as Dr. Bird has said, it's shifting from the focus on a controlled false fluency to therapies that emphasize communication confidence, and that can be achieved and maintained whether or not the stuttering persists or not, which is really very secondary. So as I said earlier, that approach can instill this deep sense that only you can feel of self-acceptance, confidence, and to me, there is no greater gift than that you can give to yourself in this case, and how that translates into every other area of your life, whether it be your personal life, your life at home, your life at work, your life at an institution, whatever it may be, your spiritual life. So that allows you to be free, allows you to be the most of who you can possibly be. So I'll take a minute and just kind of reconstruct, at least from my memory, and Dr. Bird has clarified my memory several times. I don't know whether she's ever done that with you, Dean, but she has with me. I actually, I have a granddaughter that goes to, and she'd be here today, but she went up to visit her parents. She's a second-year sophomore in the communication school at UT, and she loves it. That's not a paid commercial, but she loves being here, and she loves everything about the communication school, and she loves everything about the university. So the day was set up for me to meet with President Vives, the athletic director, and the football coach, Tom Herman. Everybody thought, well, get him on campus. Let's, he's a football guy. He owns a soccer team. A variety of other things. Our golf business, leading golf specialty retailer in the United States today. So Dr. Bird somehow, in her library mind, had put somewhere back in there that this guy blank has a history of stuttering. So when she found out that I was coming on campus, I'm not sure who she had to send 20 emails to or whatever it took, but she got what was originally supposed to be the last 30 minutes of my day to just expose me to the program. And I didn't know about it before I came on campus. I had no idea of it, was not aware of it at all. So when I saw Dr. Bird, that 30 minutes turned into an hour, and I was keeping all kinds of people late, but I was blessed because, I had an opportunity to meet a lot of young people who were students, and they were participants, I should say, in the program, so I was happy staying there and happy visiting with her. So that 30 minutes turned into an hour, turned into a year's worth of work, and one of our associates is here today, senior management is here today. Brett, you expect stand up, and Brett's been working hard. He runs all of our communications, marketing, for all of our businesses, but there's a handful, 6, 7, 8 people that has put Dr. Bird through the ringer. I don't mean that in a literal sense, but has done all the research, asked all the tough questions. I try to stay out of the way of all of that, and they came back, each one to a person with a tremendous enthusiasm a year later, and put us in a position to make this $20 million grant. So I can't be happier personally to be part of the program, to be a supporter, to share, and I'll look forward to sharing my story with as many people that want to listen to it, to share the story of the center with as many people that want to listen to it, to put Dr. Bird in front of as many people as I can that can share the beauty of her life story and her work. And so I feel very blessed, and Dr. Bird uses that word often, blessed, but in this case, from my perspective, I feel blessed that she was persistent enough to schedule a visit on the campus when I was here. So I would also talk to all you young folks, and sometimes when you may feel a little deterred by your stuttering, not only all the reasons we described earlier, that's important that you don't view that as a barrier, don't view that as something you have to get over to be successful, but the word persistence, which this woman lives by, is a powerful thing. So when you have that persistence and you continue to work your way through this, not to become fluent necessarily, you may become, you may not become, you may outgrow it, you may not outgrow it, whatever the case may be, but that persistence and that ability and that willingness to see things in life and to go after them because you know they're important, you know they're good, they know they're valued, they know they fit into who who you are as a person. All of those things are really critical. So that's the reason every one of these people, all these young people and middle-aged people and adults who stood up today have been successful and will continue to be successful, because that persistence is very, very important. So you'd be really blessed for that. I could talk for a long time about Dr. Bird, but I think that her humility, her competence, her kindness, she didn't know 6 or 7 of our staff have worked with her for the past year. They didn't have the opportunity to spend an hour with her on campus here and to meet some of the young folks, some of which I've met before. But I would tell you that every single one of them, and this is a credit to her personally, it's a credit to her mother, Ellie, who's here today with her husband. It's a credit to Courtney. Every one of them says, one of the kindest people I've ever met in my life, one of the most humble people I've ever met in my life, one of the most competent people I've ever met in my life, one of the most passionate people I've ever met in my life. So, you know, from my perspective, and I've been involved with a lot of very successful organizations, is that it takes that kind of leadership to really see the future and not just see it, but say, I'm going to go out and I'm going to reach it. Every time I talk about the work and I forget to mention internationally, I'm always corrected, you know. I'm always corrected. It says, I want to remind you, this is international. We've already had programs, camps internationally. They've been very successful. We've already planned on a number of camps internationally. So it's a special thing when you have somebody in leadership that feels that way. My mother, who reminds me of a lot of people, but a lot of some of my better qualities. Probably when she was alive, we'd fight more than I remembered. But she was a wonderful woman, lived 4 months short of 100 years old. She wrote a book as well about her life, and the title of the book is that You Only Pass Through Once, Make a Difference. And she's always been a person who's gave back, who made a difference in everybody's life. When I was a young man growing up, we had no money. We lived in a single-bedroom apartment. I shared one bedroom with my brother and my mother and dad when he was alive, slept on a little pull-out thing in the foyer, and we didn't have very much at all. But she always felt that way. And I think the notion of you only pass through once, make a difference, is something that's in the bloodstream of Dr. Bird. And it's in her heart, it's in her spirit, it's in her mind, it's in every aspect of her body. So I'm humbled to know her, and I've gotten to know her 3 boys a little bit, Michael, Charlie, and Brooksy, and her mom last night, Ellie, and her husband. So thank you for being, this is directed to the boys particularly who live with Mom, thank you for being such a great support system for your mother. It's not easy being a single parent often, and I've had to do that myself. I have 6 children, but I've had my kids home with me and responsibility to take care of them often. So she's blessed having 3 such fine boys that every time I see them, I've told her this, they're always smiling. They're always happy. So that's a reflection of you, but it's also a reflection of your mother. So continue to find ways to support your mom. She deserves all the support that you can give her, please. So I'm, thrilled to be here. How much do I believe in the work? One guy I've known for some number of years is Vice President Biden. I knew him from, many years ago, and I've had an opportunity to talk with him on a number of occasions. Obviously, I'm aware of the fact that he's a stutterer, and, he's very open about it. Dr. Bird, who knows I know him, has said, well, if and when I ever get a chance to meet him, there are 3 or 4 things I want to make sure that I'm clear with him on. So I said, I'm sure you will, right, Dean? And, Jay's laughing because he knows and this Jay's probably laughing too because he knows what's coming. But in any event, I sent the material to Vice President Biden probably 3 months ago or so, and I had some alone time with him, and I said, Mr. Vice President, and I said, I'd really love, you've had a chance to review this work, I'd love to, sit down with you and share at some time. He said, well, I promise you, I'll make a Biden promise. These are his words. I'll make a Biden promise. I want to see you and Dr. Bird in the White House if I'm elected post-November 3rd, because there's work that can be done on a national level in a whole variety of ways, and I can't think of anybody who can lead that work better than Dr. Bird, and with the support of, November 3rd, pending the next President of the United States. So I'm all in. You've heard of this before. Stuttering obviously does not define who you are. One of my very good friends who passed away this last year was Jack Welch. Many of the young people in here don't know Jack Welch. What does that name mean? Jack was the chairman, president, and CEO of GE when GE was a real company. Jack was generally celebrated as being the most successful and widely respected CEO in the United States for the last 100 years. Jack had a very bad stutter. And I remember playing golf with him one day. We got off the golf course, and I said, you know, Jack, I stutter too. He said, oh, you don't stutter. He said, yeah, I do stutter. And I told him my background, et cetera, and his stuttering was very evident. And I said, well, you know, how did you deal with that at GE? And, you know, at that time, GE was, I think, the second or third largest industrial company in the world. May have even been the largest at that time. And he said two ways. One, he said, my mother, same thing, mother or parent. I noticed a lot of dads here today, too. Mom or dad always said to me, what I had to say is important. Your brain is working faster than your mouth. It's no problem. Take your time. You'll get it out. When you get it out, people want to hear what you have to say. Second reason is GE. So I said, well, how about a GE? He said, well, they're actually paid to listen to me. So that helped as well. So my last comment is that I want to just direct this to most of the young people. Most people spoke today were young people, not like me. But you think about the United States, and you think about the world for that matter, about a third of the population of the United States are young people, a third. But I'm looking at these three boys here as I say this, or Nadia or all the other young people here, is that I want to remind you that you're 100% of our future. You're a third of our population and 100% of our future. So I want you all to do what you have to do to continue to invest in yourselves to be the best and the most that you can possibly be. And that's just, it's not just your mind and it's not just your body and it's not just all those things, but it's your spirit as well. To me, the highest level of the spirituality is when you actually are living in a certain way. It's not actually which faith you may be a part of or whatever it may be, but it's how do you live your life and how do you conduct your life. And I would say to you, in a country today that has less collaboration and less partnerships and less listening, one of the beautiful things, I mentioned it this morning to Dr. Bird, I sent her a text while we were on an earlier Zoom call this morning, and I've noticed this actually with almost everybody else who's involved in the studying program, and we had on 8 or 10 people that are very influential in their own fields, in the arts and humanities and authors and musicians, etc. Everyone was an extraordinarily good listener. Every single person was an extraordinarily good listener. I was commenting to Brett, you know, when we had a break, that, you know, I could learn from that, and I do need to learn from that. It's not just a question of listening because somebody's a stutterer, but if, as humanity, as a population, and you young people, I would challenge you, if we all become better listeners in our everyday life, become better listeners, whether somebody stutters or not is not important, but we become better listeners and better understanding of what somebody else is trying to say first before we speak, you know, that's very powerful. It's something that Dr. Bird does beautifully, and many people do well, but I could do better, and I need to do that. So I want to thank, again, Courtney Bird, Dean Bernhardt, President Hartzell, and I want to thank University of Texas for allowing this child to grow up, to become a young person today, a young teenager today. Dr. Bird didn't read all the fine print. She read every part of our agreement, which I didn't do, which kind of amazed her. She said, well, have you read it? I said, no, I haven't read it. And I said, I actually trust totally J&J. So that's not actually what I said. But I said, I've got a number of great people that actually will read all the agreement. But she didn't read the fine print. So I'm a strong believer in this philosophy. There is no finish line. So what Dr. Bird thinks is that there's going to be 4 centers in the United States and, 11 centers around the world. So we have 2,200 Home Depot stores in the United States today. I expect to see a center close to every one of the HD stores today in the United States by the time we're finished. So God bless you all. Thank you so much for your time.